Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. It's been 8 days since the budget session of Parliament began. And in these last 8 days, we've seen it all. Papers have been strewn around Parliament, the Speaker's chair has been disrespected, complete pandemonium in the well of the House, even an attempt by some Congress MPs to try and gerao the Prime Minister. The issue of former Army Chief General Narawane's memoirs, unpublished as it were, are echoed through the last 4 or 5 days of this budget session of Parliament. It even interrupted the Prime Minister's reply on the motion of thanks. The address was directly aimed at the Gandhis. But amid all of this din, what got lost were key issues that matter to the taxpayers of this country. Even today, ladies and gentlemen, there's this young man who died because an open pit was dug up by the Delhi Jal Board. There was no warning sign, there was no barricading, there was nothing there, and the man just drove his motorcycle into it, and he's died today. But this issue did not figure in our Parliament today. Issues that matter to the people of this country did not figure in our Parliament. Is our politics only about our parliamentarians and whatever political point scoring that they're indulging in? Is it not about people? Is it not about the issues that matter to the people? Why is every session of Parliament marred by one issue or another? This session is about General Narawane's book. The earlier session was about SIR. The session before that was about something else. One or the other issue is always there at the beginning of a session which disrupts the entire session. Are we not electing our parliamentarians, sending them to the House to debate the issues that matter to us? Or are we electing them to disrupt the proceedings? We'll get into all of that, but I want to first play out some of the fiery words that were exchanged both inside and outside Parliament in these last couple of days.
मोहब्बत की दुकान खोलने वाले मोदी तेरी कब्र खुदेगी के नारे लगा रहे हैं जी। ये कौन सी मोहब्बत की दुकान है जो देश के ही किसी नागरिक के कब्र खोदने के सपने देखती हो? ये कौन सा संविधान से उन्होंने सीखा है जो देश के ही किसी नागरिक के कब्र खोदने की बात करते हो?
इसलिए बेचा है क्योंकि ये कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड है। सिर्फ आपको नहीं बेचा है, देश को बेचा है। इसलिए मुझे वहां नहीं बोलने देना है। नरेंद्र मोदी जी डरे हुए हैं।
Now, while our parliamentarians were jostling and throwing papers and disrespecting the Speaker's chair, some of the key issues that matter to this country and to the citizens of this country completely escape their attention. Issues that matter to you and me, the taxpayers of this country. The Parliament is functioning because you and I are funding it through our hard-earned tax monies. Now, a techie, I spoke about this earlier, a techie lost his life, and I wish we can show some of those visuals. He lost his life after his car plunged into an unsecure pit in Noida. This happened in January. His name is Yuvraj, young IT worker. Again, no one is talking about it. It was dense fog. It was missing warning signs that made the danger invisible to this young man. There you go. These are pictures from when that accident happened. He was driving a car, mind you. Car goes straight into this lake or this pond. No warning signs, nothing ever. The victim pleaded for help for a good 2 hours. The assistance did not arrive on time, and even when it did, the firefighters and the first responders were arguing with each other because they didn't know how to swim. This happened exactly a month ago. Last night, exactly a month later, a similar tragedy unfolded here in Delhi. This time a young man, his name is Kamal, incidentally. He is on a bike, falls into again this open pit which is dug up by the Delhi Jal Board. The motorcyclist is dead. His family is alleging this is gross negligence. Again, the family is saying there was no warning sign, no barricading, nothing. This morning, after the entire accident happened this morning and the family members are frantically trying to reach him, finally, after a good 7-8 hours, this morning they find his body next to this ditch. They are squarely blaming the Delhi Jal Board and the Delhi Jal Board officials who did this. They opened a pit. They refused to put any kind of warning signs there, and today a young man is dead. Today, in response to it, the Water Board has suspended 3 officials. But is this the price of life in India? Is this not what our parliamentarians should be debating and discussing? Issues that matter to the people of this country. Instead, we have one party that talks about an unpublished memoir of a former army chief about something that happened 5 years ago. And then you have another party which says, oh, certain slogans have been raised in a university about certain individuals. That should be the subject matter of what Parliament should be debating. Who really cares for the citizens of India? I want to first play out, our colleague Nivedita went to this place where this young man died. He rode his bike right into this dying pit. I want to play out what she found out there, what the family is saying, and then I'll also talk about other issues, other pressing matters that should have been and could have been discussed in Parliament, but frankly our parliamentarians couldn't care less.
So I am right now at the location and we can clearly see that this entire road was blocked for construction, and from both the sides there is proper barricading. That green sheet we can see across the dig, and this entire road is basically closed for traffic, and the proper up and down traffic movement has been shifted to the other side of the road, and there were proper barricading we can see, and this is not a very small section of the road where the construction is ongoing. This entire stretch in at least 1 to 2 kilometers, the work is currently underway, and we can see that how deep this dig was, but it can be possible that it was an accident and he missed these signs because of darkness possibly. So the work was going on for last couple of months, and what we have learned is that basically before the monsoon, before the arrival of rain and monsoon, the Delhi Jal Board was trying to complete the work, and this pit is pretty deep, and the current details is not available so far, but the police is repeatedly saying that they are currently investigating the matter and they will provide more update as and when it is available.
So lives are getting lost, and somehow our parliamentarians don't find it worthy enough of being raised in our August House. Our parliamentarians did not even discuss something as consequential, as important as the US-India trade deal, which got announced earlier this week. In fact, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal made identical statements in both houses, and that was it. We didn't get any further details on the fine print because of the pandemonium and because of the repeated adjournments that happened. But outside of Parliament, Union and Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has put out a statement. He's clarified that there will be no compromise on agriculture or dairy or some of the staple crops, rice, wheat, maize, etc. Dairy will also be fully protected. Small and marginal farmers will not face sudden foreign competition, and all of these concerns around US farm imports have been addressed. In fact, the deal could also boost the export of Indian basmati rice, spices, and of course, many labor-intensive sectors like textiles, gems and jewelry, leather, which were all, very badly off over the last 6 months because of this ongoing trade war. Now, here's what we have learned from our sources within the government. Again, this has not been put out officially by the government. This has not been debated in Parliament. The opposition did not think that this was an issue worthy of, moving an adjournment motion and discussing. But be that as it may, this is what we're learning. Rice, wheat, soybean, corn, dairy, and sugar all will be kept out of the ambit of this deal. The bulk of what the Indian farmers are producing will not be part of this deal. Therefore, there is no threat of competition. Agro imports from the US will be items that are not produced in a big scale in India. It would include few non-mass consumption items, whether it is almonds, cashews, pecans, walnuts, pistachios. This is not something that Indian farmers regularly grow. Therefore, this may be part of the deal and may not be threatening to Indian farmers. India and the United States will put out a joint statement in the next 4 or 5 days. The first tranche of this deal will be signed in March, once it's finalized, once the legal vetting happens. Again, this is a hugely important story. Should have been discussed in Parliament. But we have the Agriculture Minister's bite right outside.
किसानों की पूरी चिंता करते हुए देश के हित में ये डील की गई है। हमारे वाणिज्य मंत्री पीयूष गोयल जी ने संसद में भी सारी स्थिति अपने वक्तव्य में स्पष्ट कर दी है। मैं फिर दोहरा रहा हूं, भारत के किसानों के हित पूरी तरह सुरक्षित है। हमारे छोटे किसान हो, बड़े किसान हो, हमारे कृषि उत्पाद मुख्य रूप से जो हमारे थे वो सब के सब सुरक्षित रहेंगे। ऐसी कोई चीज के लिए बाजार नहीं खोला गया।
So let me open this up to our political guests, our experts. Siddharth Yadav is national spokesperson of the BJP. Advocate Mahima Singh is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Sanjeev Srivastava, senior journalist, joining us. Rajat Sethi, political analyst, is also joining us. Mr. Yadav, let me start with you first. A young man dies right in the heart of the capital. It's not finding any time or resonance in our parliament. 1 month ago, a young man dies here in Noida, again, open pit, no warning signs. It doesn't find resonance in parliament. Yesterday, I did a show on how the Bangalore-Chennai highway, the national highway, one of the most busiest routes in the country, there's a 30 feet deep crater bang in the middle of the border between both states. Again, our parliamentarians don't have time to discuss this. The Indo-US trade deal got announced on Twitter and on Truth Social. Again, not discussed in parliament. Why do we have this parliament? I mean, today, I just got the data for this week. For the last 8 days, productivity of the Lok Sabha is 24%. Non-legislation time that's been spent on non-legislative business, 38%. In 8 days, the total number of functioning hours is only 7.5 hours. Why should we pay for this? Why should the taxpayer pay for this?
Good evening, Zaka, and good evening to all your viewers. First of all, answering on the question of the very unfortunate death of a young man that has happened in Delhi, my prayers to the family. The government has ordered a probe. 3 of the officers, including senior officers of executive engineer, have been suspended right today by the Delhi government. And whatever criminal action has to be taken against that must be taken. And our government would ensure that all those who were at fault have to be held accountable for that. But I also partly agree while you say about the productivity of our parliament. But the question that I ask myself is, who is actually to blame for that? Who is at fault for that? See, how does a parliament function? If we are the ruling dispensation, we have bills which are for the welfare of the people. We have to introduce those bills. We have to get those bills passed. We have to make those laws so that the country, the economy functions in a smooth manner. The parliament is a good forum for the opposition to raise issues that they wish to. But what do they raise in the parliament? Every session we hear one issue that the parliament takes up, that the opposition takes up, and for that issue they hold the parliament as hostage. Is the parliament there for being held as hostage? Is that the use of the parliament? I ask this question as well. I am on your side, Zaka, while we discuss the productivity of the parliament. If the opposition has to take up issues, if the opposition thinks that there are questions to be asked, we are there to answer those questions. But if the opposition chooses to sometime raise an issue of Pegasus and then later apologize in the court, sometimes raise the issue of Rafale and then later apologize in the court, sometimes raise up an issue of anything that pops up and then later apologize or just leave it. Sometimes it's SIR, sometimes it's election commission, God knows what. And in the next session there's something else. They even leave what they had raised earlier. If that is the modus operandi of the opposition, that they want that no discussion should happen, no discussion on the welfare of the people has to happen, no discussion on the future of our country has to happen, then I don't know whom to blame.
So,
I think it's very evident, it's very clear for the people to decide.
There is a bit of a pattern going on. Sometimes it's Hindenburg, sometimes it's Pegasus, sometimes it's Rafale. Last session it was SIR. This session it is General Naravane's unpublished book. Are these the issues that really matter to the people of this country, or should you be taking up issues that actually matter to the people of this country? But why young people are having to die in an open dug-up pit without any warning signs? Why in a national highway is suddenly collapsing? The other day we had the Mumbai-Pune expressway, again one of the busiest expressways in the country. A container had overturned. For 8 hours, people were stuck. Are these not issues that matter to the people of this country? Why is the opposition not raising these issues?
Jai Hind. Zaka, in fact, I fully agree with you, and I would instead, of turning the tables towards the opposition, I would ask a very responsible question of the ruling dispensation of the BJP, the double, triple engine, self-chest thumping government led by Mr. Modi. I would ask what was the issue this time around. It was a reply to the president's address. In fact, the pattern that you're talking about, let me remind you, the last session, it was about pollution, Zaka. Was it taken up? Whenever the president's address is there, I agree with you, the issues that concern the common public, the taxpayer of this country, are those issues featured in the Honorable President's address to the country, no, they do not feature in her speech. Pollution doesn't feature. These young men and their lives do not feature. You know, some IS aspirants died last year. That did not feature. Exam leaks do not feature. Jobs do not feature. Inflation does not feature. US-India trade deal doesn't
No, but
feature.
ma'am, may I ask you,
Science
what is
feature.
stopping the
No,
opposition from raising these
Zaka,
issues? Who
Allow me
stopped the
to-
opposition from raising these issues? You have 200 plus MPs. Please take up these issues about IAS aspirants getting drowned out in a coaching center, about young
Zaka,
men
there is a-
riding
there
a
is
bike
a-
into a pit and dying. Who's stopping you from raising these issues?
I just asked you a question. Do you remember the last time it was pollution? Did the BJP allow that discussion to be held? Does the BJP, in fact, Her Excellency the President, does she address these issues in her speech so that we can respond to those? In her speech, security, the country's security, the borders, you know, the chest thumping, the self.
President did not talk about India, China, Galwan, General Naravane's book. It's the leader of the opposition who decided to do that.
Yes, because that is a very important issue and national security features in her speech. And so the Honorable LOP, decides to start from there. But
No,
what we
ma'am,
heard from
ma'am, the
speaker
point is
yesterday-
nobody is denying. It's an absolutely
Let me
important
ask
issue.
you-
We need to
let
know
me-
what happened in Galwan, what were the instructions given. Absolutely, I agree with you. It's an important issue. It needs to be discussed in Parliament. The issue was not that.
point.
The issue was twofold. No, ma'am, 1 second, please. Let me finish. 10 seconds. The issue is twofold. One, is it proprietary to quote from an unpublished book? Number one, there's a ruling on that by the Speaker. And number two, is this the only issue that matters to the people of this country? 1.4 billion people. Will no other issue be taken up? Will entire 8 days of Parliament be held up on this one issue?
Now, I ask you, Zaka. First of all, let me rectify. It is a published book, not available in India, not cleared from the Ministry of Defense, published by Penguin. All the details are out there, ISBN details are out there, and Honorable LOP Sri Rahul Gandhi carried a copy of the book to the Parliament, and he challenged, and the Prime Minister actually proved him right when he said that when the Prime Minister comes, I'll go and hand over a copy of this book to him, because what General Naravane is saying, the country must know the reality of those claims. I mean, giving a carte blanche and saying, do what you feel is right after a 2-hour standoff when the Chinese tanks are intruding your territory, meter by meter.
So that's the only issue that
Was
should be debated in Parliament. No
hold
other
on,
issue should be
hold on,
taken
hold
up.
Hold on. And therefrom, the Prime Minister chooses not to turn up. What does the Honorable Speaker, say? The Speaker said yesterday that there was a threat to his life from whom? His worthy colleagues, people who represent 60% of this country. You know, that is shameful, atrocious. It is very shameful when the Speaker abdicates from the responsibility that he holds towards his countrymen.
Okay.
It is
So
shameful
I don't
when the
know
Speaker makes
why
that
Mahima
claim
Singh is
and
not
does resign.
addressing the issues that matter to the people of this country. Let me go to Rajat Sethi and to Sanjeev Srivastava. Rajat Sethi, you know, the job of running the House, the job of running Parliament is that of the government. The job of raising the issues that matter to the people is that of the opposition. Now again, I am choosing my words very, very carefully. Yes, what General Naravane said is absolutely essential. It should be debated in Parliament. Nobody is saying no. The question is, can you quote from a book that's not been published? The Speaker's given a ruling on that. And two, for 8 days after that ruling, for 8 days, that's the one issue that's holding up Parliament. Young Yuvraj will get no justice. Young Kamal will get no justice. None of these young people matter. People waiting for 8 hours to get basic services, they don't matter. All that matters is one issue that's been chosen, and entire Parliament will be held up because of that one issue. Rajat.
Jacob, good evening. See, this is what I interpret as the opposition has gotten into a habit of picking the flavor of an ice cream. Just like you pick up, a seasonal best-selling flavor, they pick an issue. And without caring whether that issue genuinely is the people's issue, genuinely reflects the grievances of the people, without caring, just if the LOP has decided that this is the issue that they're going to go hammer and tongs on the government, then they choose that and then they just stick with that. And this is where I believe strategically, I mean, look at the entire trend. For a very long time, they picked up the Adani issue. For a very long time, they picked up the China issue. And they keep choosing these themes. SIR was a theme, and then they don't care about what the people want. Till date, They have neither proven anything against Adani, they haven't gone to the courts. Till date, they haven't proven anything on SIR, and they haven't been able to go to the courts and prove an iota of a case against the Election Commission or any institution for that matter. My problem is that if you are so flimsy in choosing your election issues or choosing your issues that have to be tabled in the parliament, then you will give the government a leeway to set the agenda the way they want to. And this is where the challenges
just
come
to
in.
add, by the
Even-
way, just 1 second, Rajat. By the way, Advocate Mahima Singh said that, last session was about pollution. I don't think last session was disrupted because of
Not at
pollution.
all.
It
Not
was
at
because
all.
of the SIR issue. And what happened ultimately? The SIR issue went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, and I quote, "It's a constitutional obligation of the Election Commission. Not even the Supreme Court can stop SIR." That's what the Supreme Court said.
Zaka, I asked, was pollution discussed?
No,
I
but
asked,
who will
we
take up
raised
the issue,
pollution,
ma'am?
was it-
Isn't
I
it
did
not up
not
to the
talk about
opposition to
it.
take up the
Who
issue?
I did not talk about the standoff. See, the Honorable LOP comes out with facts and figures and you demand an affidavit. Will you demand an affidavit from the Speaker for the claims he has made?
No, but
about
the
threats
matter
to
went up to
family?
the Supreme
Are you
Court.
really
The
showing
Supreme
me
Court
what
ruled
is
on the
the
matter. What happened
SIR
ultimately? The
last
Supreme
time
Court
checked
said,
the
go ahead
parliament
with the
was not
SIR.
discussed.
Zaka,
One
the
word.
question is, was
Jaka?
pollution discussed?
Okay, Rajat, yeah.
Was
And then I'll come to
pollution
Sanjeev
discussed?
Srivastava, yeah.
Do you remember
You
what
would
happened
know that
to
the
people of
Speaker-
Delhi who were protesting against
Mahima
permission
ji,
at
you've got
India
ample
Gate?
time to
Do you
speak.
remember
Don't
what
cut into
happened
Okay,
others'
to
time.
Mahima, 1
on
second, please,
India
please,
Gate?
ma'am. Let Rajat finish his point, yeah.
Ms.
Yeah.
Jaka, Speaker is a quasi-judicial body. It's one of the constitutional positions which principal responsibilities is to judge what is going on in the parliament. So he certainly, when he says that I have pukta sabut, this is the word that how can you go out and say, no, he doesn't have that. Now, depending on how he wants to take up the
presented
issue,
the
to what level he wants to take it is his prerogative. It is not the prerogative of the Congress party to tell the Speaker his job. Now,
Okay.
going back onto the
Well, it
army,
is.
army
Issue, yeah.
chief, the former army chief's book, any book publisher or any author who has published a book knows that once the ISBN and everything is issued, prior to you putting it onto Amazon or anywhere, there are pre-sales and all of those things. But that is the time when you send a copy for formal approvals. And this is not a mandate which the government of the current day brought in. It has been going on since Congress days also. No serving bureaucrat or just a recent retired bureaucrat or a serving journal or a retired journal can come out and write books about operational matters. This again is the prerogative of the government and has been the prerogative of the
Sanjeev,
Congress government also.
forget about civic issues for a moment. I mean, I don't think it's any less important. It should be on the temple of democracy. I mean, I wanted to ask Mr. Yadav also this. BJP has 7 MPs from Delhi. None of them thought this issue was worth raising. Anyway, be that as it may, what I want to ask you, Sanjeev, is even the trade deal. It's a huge deal. It's a huge story because of the pain our exporters were feeling. Finally, we got an announcement earlier this week. We didn't have a debate on this. We don't know what the contours of this deal are. We're still waiting for Mr. Trump to say, okay, this. All we have is one of his posts and a tweet from the Prime Minister thanking him. Now, the point is this not an issue of national importance? Shouldn't the opposition raise this in the House and ask for all kinds of adjournment motions are moved every day in Parliament. I have not seen one asking for the discussion of the trade deal.
So
Sanjeev.
you are right, Zaka. But the thing is that the government should suo moto come out and give details about the trade deal, which it has not spelled out in its finer points of the trade deal. We really don't know. But the longest tweet was of President Trump. Prime Minister Modi's tweet was more like thanking him, and he kept silent about a lot of issues which were there in President Trump's tweets, whether we are agreeing to stop purchase of Russian oil or about farm exports or what will be that $500 billion of exports that US will be allowed. But having said that, my basic contention is, yes, people's issues should be raised. But who is going to decide? Certainly we on a television debate cannot decide what are people-centric issues. The 2 deaths you pointed out are very unfortunate and should have been discussed. But like you also pointed out, both the governments are BJP governments, whether in UP or in Delhi. If they have taken action like the BJP spokesperson just before now mentioned, it's good, but why should these things happen and these afterthought probes and inquiries? But again, those things happen in Congress governments also. So I will not be selective in saying BJP
No,
is wrong.
so I'll tell you
But
why
the
it's not taken up.
bunyadi basic
I have a
principle
theory. I have a theory on that. Just 10 seconds. Just one sentence. The theory, it's not even a theory. This is the lived reality here in India. The reason why these issues, the life of Kamal, the life of Yuvraj, or the life of those 3 kids who jumped off because they were caught in a video game spiral. Why this doesn't find resonance in Parliament and why our members don't take it up? You know why? Because in India, life is cheap. That's why. No one cares for your life. Certainly our parliamentarians don't. Yeah, go on, Sanjeev.
Well, I think, yes, we know whether it's rail accidents or other tragedies, accidents. Yes, life is cheap, we all know about it. But the fact of the matter is that in a parliamentary system, like you just now mentioned, it's the government's job to run the house. And if the government of the day decides that the parliament will function, discuss, debate only issues of its choosing, then why is there an opposition for? And you only very, I was shocked when you just now said some time back, why should we have a parliament, why should we fund it? So that's the next most dangerous step. Are you suggesting that we should also not have a parliament anymore?
I'm saying please pick up the issues that matter. No, one second. Please pick up the issues that matter to the people.
Sir, but the LOP and the opposition have a right to decide what they think is the most important issue of
Absolutely,
the day.
I'm not denying that. But my point, my limited point. No, Sanjeev,
and if the government,
Sanjeev, my limited point is.
You made your point.
Yeah, my limited point is. Nobody, I'm not even saying for a moment, I'm not even saying for a moment that what General Naravane said in his book should be not debated or is not important. It should be debated. It should be debated threadbare. The point is not that. The point is, one, the propriety of discussing something that is unpublished, uncleared by the Defence Ministry for whatever reason. Number 2, is that the one issue that's going to hold up 8 days of Parliament? Really? There's nothing else that is important to the people of this country that should be raised.
The bigger point, Zaka, is, sorry to disagree with you. The point of the day is that will the government only decide, the ruling party will only decide with less than 300 MPs what will be discussed and talked in the Parliament? Then why is there an opposition? Just suspend everybody, throw them out.
No,
run the
one second. Sanjeev, come on. You know this better than me. No, one second.
Discussions between yourselves.
Sir, please. You're a veteran journalist. You know this better than me. What is discussed in Parliament is decided by the Business Advisory Committee. The Business Advisory Committee has members of the government and members of the opposition. They decide what is discussed.
Who follows the Business Advisory Committee? The meetings are not seriously held, nothing. See, we all know, I don't know why we are playing so coy. Everything that happens in Parliament has to be to the liking and approval of the government of the day. This was never the case earlier. This is something which we have seen increasingly developing as a routine and being accepted as a routine.
Okay.
That the government of the day will decide what will be discussed.
I disagree with Sanjeev's contention, but Siddharth Yadav, please respond. Yeah.
What are they?
Let Mr. Yadav respond. You decide. You only take up those issues that are convenient to you.
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Yadav.
Zaka, who took up the issue of an unpublished books discussion? Is this the government's issue? Or who took up the issue of discussing about SIR
while it was pending in the
unpublished
book? I fail to understand.
Who wanted to?
It's written by the army chief.
Who wanted to? I'll come to that. Now I'm answering you, sir. I'll come to that. I'll come to the specific question of why this discussion can't happen in the Parliament. But I'm asking you, who's making Rahul Gandhi choose all these issues? When he chooses Hindenburg, who forced him to choose? Was this of government's liking? Or when he thought that he can discuss Rafale and later apologize for that, who made him do that? When he thought that he should discuss Pegasus, when it was of no relevance and when data was seized and mobile phones were seized, he refused to give them. So who is asking him so? My limited point, Zaka,
no, are you suggesting that there's some invisible hand? Are you suggesting that some invisible power is asking Mr. Gandhi to raise these issues?
Zaka, I think it's out in open. It's clearly visible. I don't even have to mention that. The pattern is so simple. Rahul Gandhi comes up with one issue. He takes the Parliament as hostage. He does not let the government or any parliamentarian discuss about anything else. We are bringing in bills. We are bringing in so many. We plan to introduce bills which are for the welfare of the people. But those are not. You are
playing to somebody else's agenda. That's the charge. Yeah, Maima Singh.
Blatant lies is BJP's forte, and the spokespersons really play it very well out there when it comes to peddling lies in Parliament and on your shows. Now, let me just say the book issue, Zaka. We quoted from a published book and veracity would have been proven. But Nishikant Dubey
I'm
goes
sorry,
out,
Zaka, this can't
offends,
go on
willfully
your show.
offends. I
It's
did not-
unpublished book and
I
it's
did not
unpublished book.
interject, Zaka,
Something
please.
that has not gotten...
Please ensure
Yeah, I
interject
will
another
go
show.
with that. It's an unpublished book, but anyway, Mahima Singh, yeah.
Nishikant Dubey, it's also available abroad. It was available till the day the issue came up on Amazon, showing currently available. I have screenshots
Okay.
of that. The next day,
Can we move on from the book, please? Yes.
Arey Baba, available where? If it is pending approval from the MOD, it is pending approval
Let
from
her
the
finish.
MOD.
Yeah, I'm also running out of time. Let her finish,
The writer of the book has
please.
said that it is pending approval from the MOD.
Desperations are another forte of the BJP. Now, let me just say that, Nishikant Dubey quotes 6
go
books.
ahead.
All of them, in spite of being banned in India, available on Amazon. All of them, all of the references made were to offend Indian former prime ministers. Were they not prime ministers of this country? Is that not offending the prime minister's office when Nishikant Dubey does that? And second very important point, Zaka, you just talked about the pattern right in the beginning, and after that much has been talked about it. But let me just say, Shri Rahul Gandhi raised issues about NEET, paper leaks, about COVID deaths, about, the Kumbh, the whole disaster
Stampede,
that
yeah.
happened, about rail tragedy, but nothing was allowed to be discussed by the BJP because they, the parliament
We'll
is
leave it
run
at that.
as
I'm
per
completely
their
out
wills
of
and
time. Thank you very much, Siddharth Yadav, Mahima Singh, Rajat Sethi, and of course, Sanjeev Srivastava for joining us. We'll see if in the next week, and then Parliament takes a recess after that, but in the next week, hopefully some of these issues, including the deaths of these young men, complete civic apathy, completely needless deaths, whether this will be taken up by our right honourable parliamentarians. I want to move on to